Hare Krishna. My humble obeisances to all the devotees who assembled for today morning's Bhagavatam class. We are reading from the 14th chapter of the 10th canto, where Lord Brahma offered his heartfelt prayers to Krishna with a deep sense of regret, repentance for the mistake he has done by separating the Lord's eternal associates from him for a year. But Krishna is expert. He utilized the situation in such a way that the loving bonding between Krishna and the mothers of Vrindavan, cows of Vrindavan, has become even more intense. So, Brahma Vimohana Leela ultimately had a happy ending. And even Govardhan Leela also had a very happy ending. Or any other Leela where some demons tried to create some difficulties in Vrindavan or create some kind of unfavorable situations in Vrindavan by attacking Krishna, by attacking Krishna's devotees. Ultimately, all those pastimes ended up in very sweet, loving memories. Not only for the Vrajavasis, for all of us now also. 5,000 years later, we are recollecting those pastimes and happily meditating on them, discussing them, learning a lot of lessons from them. An expert personality can churn out a lot of nectar even amidst a lot of difficulties. Whether a situation is a positive situation or a negative situation, it all depends on the perspective the person has. It all depends on the outlook, the angle in which the situation is looked at. So Krishna converted this apparently terrible situation where hundreds and thousands of his friends and hundreds and thousands of his calves disappeared and he separated from them. But he utilized that opportunity to intensify his loving dealings with all the mothers and fathers of Vrindavan and the cows of Vrindavan specifically. And ultimately there was a transformation in Brahma's heart also. Earlier Brahma was a bit overconfident about his own powers and he tried to test Krishna's powers. And now Brahma realized his own insignificant position in comparison to the Supreme Lord Krishna's position, apologized, repented, came back to his senses, he was jolted, and all the glories of the Supreme Lord Krishna and the glories of Vrindavan were revealed to Brahma, and overall it had a very, very sweet and happy ending. It's worth going through even unpleasant experiences if only we can come to this realization ultimately. What is that realization? Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and I am a humble menial servant of Krishna. That is my position. If you can realize it somehow or the other, you can realize that by studying Shastra, you can realize by doing a very simple, easy service, or you can realize it by doing a very, very tough service, or even by committing a mistake. At the end, you realize that Krishna is the Supreme Lord and you are the servant of Krishna. So this is called Sambandha Jnana. To realize Krishna's position and to realize one's own connection with Krishna is called Sambandha Jnana. Sometimes, although we have that Sambandha Jnana, we may sometimes get distracted or deviated from that Sambandha Jnana. We may not be able to explore the depths of that Sambandha between us and Krishna. We may have a superficial or superficial understanding of this Sambandha between us and Krishna, and at times we may get distracted in our understanding. We may get deviated in our understanding. We may underestimate the Lord. We may forget our position. Many things. But Krishna will ensure that we will come back to our senses sooner or later. When Indra was sitting on a big mountain of pride, Krishna pulled him down. Come down. Become humble. We may think that Krishna protected the Vrajavasis from the anger of Indra by lifting Govardhan mountain. But in reality, Krishna did not protect only the Vrajavasis. Krishna protected Indra also. Krishna protected Vrajavasis from Indra's reign, and Krishna protected Indra from his own pride. Right? So Krishna showed his mercy upon Indra also, not only Vrajavasis. Krishna was never inimical towards Indra. There is something unpleasant in Indra's character. What was that? His pride, his arrogance. He was overly identifying himself with his power and position. I am the Lord of Indra, I am the Lord of the heavenly planets, I am the master of all the devatas, I am the provider of rains. They are supposed to worship me. So Indra is like overly identifying himself with his position, and is becoming very proud of the worship that he is receiving. Right? He was receiving a lot of worship and he became proud. But he is doing good service. His service is great. But the attitude after rendering that service is not good. So what did Krishna do? Krishna the expert. He identified Indra is doing his service nicely, but he has a arrogant mentality which he developed because of receiving so much of worship and adoration. Let me cut down that worship. Seva can continue. Puja will not continue. Indra's seva as the provider of rains will continue, but Indra Puja will be cancelled. So Krishna removed that source of pride from Indra's life so that Indra can remain humble and do his service. Krishna never took away Indra's service. Right? If you have noticed, Krishna never took away Indra's service. After 1 week of this devastating rainfall in Vrindavan, Indra came back to his senses. All these Samvartaka clouds came in front of Indra and said, Indra, we tried our best to destroy Vrindavan, but nothing happened to Vrindavan. We could not move even a blade of grass from Vrindavan. We could not relocate even a dust particle from Vrindavan. But we exhausted all our waters. Now we don't have water even to shed tears. We are totally tired, exhausted. Enough. Because you are our master, we did this service to you. But we don't think we'll be able to serve you anymore in this regard. Because we are done. Then Indra realized his mistake. He came to Krishna, fell at the feet of Krishna, begged forgiveness. Long story, to keep it short. Indra said sorry to Krishna. Then Krishna said, my dear Indra, please realize your own position. And he said a few more things. And please go and continue your services. But no more Indra Puja. If Krishna is really angry and impulsive and totally frustrated with Indra, he would have removed Indra from that position. Krishna disapproved Indra's mistake and mentality, but Krishna never disowned Indra. After all, he is my devotee. Yes, he did a mistake. He became very proud and arrogant. Why? Because he is receiving so much of respect, worship, a separate sacrifice done on his name. Okay, that is the source of his pride. Let's remove that pride. But let's retain his service. Similarly, Brahma also. He came and begged forgiveness in front of Krishna. Krishna did not speak a single word in front of Brahma. Brahma even said that, O Lord, aho bhagyam nanda gopavarjaukasam yanmitram paramanandam purnam brahma sanatanam. Aho bhagyam. What great fortune, what great fortune. Whose fortune is this? Vrajavasi's fortune. The Vrajavasis, the Gopas and the Gopis and the entire cowherd community is so fortunate. Why? Yan mitram paramanandam purnam brahma sanatanam. Because that supreme absolute truth Krishna is personally acting as their friend. Yanmitram Paramanandam Purnam Brahma Sanatanam. They are so glorious. Oh Lord, I am insignificant in front of you. You are the Supreme Lord. Now that I realized the glories of your Lordship, and now that I realized the glories of Vrindavan Dham, now that I realized the glories of all your associates, I have a desire, a humble, sincere, small desire. Can you please allow me to become a blade of grass in Vrindavan? A shrub or a herb or some plant or a creeper in Vrindavan? I'll just be somewhere. I'll be happy to receive the dust from the lotus feet of your devotees. See, Brahma, where is that Brahma who wanted to test Krishna's power? Where is that Brahma who wanted to steal Krishna's associates and create a separation between Krishna's associates and Krishna? And where is that Brahma who is aspiring to become a blade of grass in Vrindavan so that he can receive the dust from Brajavasis? See this transformation. See this transformation. Brahma is ultimately a devotee, an exalted devotee, the first created being in this entire universe. So the lesson here is, however exalted you may be, there is a scope for bewilderment. The second lesson is, however bewildered you may be, if you are a devotee of Krishna, Krishna will protect you. You'll come back to senses. Once you come in contact with bhakti, once you sincerely practice devotional service even for a little while, sincerely chant the holy names of Krishna and did some little service to Krishna even for some time, Krishna will protect you. Although you may get deviated for a while. Indra's bewilderment is for 1 week. Brahma's bewilderment is for one year, according to earthly calculation. And some other devotees' bewilderment maybe for some time. Yamunacharya was little distracted in bhakti and then he came back to senses. Yayati, he was a devotee, but for 1,000 years he was very lost in sense gratification. But he came back to senses, he surrendered to Krishna. Saubhari Muni, he offended a Vaishnav, Garuda, and he married the 50 daughters of Mandhata, and he was lost in sense gratification for a while, and after that he came back to senses. Right? He is reinstated back in his original position as a devotee. So even if there is some distraction or deviation in the life of a devotee, one day he will come back to bhakti. That is the process of bhakti. But any other process cannot reinstate us back in our lost position. But bhakti, there's a lot of hope in bhakti. Even if there is some distraction or deviation, once you have practiced bhakti, Krishna will not disown you and Krishna will ensure that you will come back. That's why Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita, Api chet suduracharo bhajate mamananya bhak sadhureva samantavya samyak vyavasito hi saha. Even if a devotee does sudurachar, Krishna will ensure that he'll come back to normalcy. However, if a devotee deliberately commits a mistake, he commits a mistake in a premeditated way, then he will have to experience some serious reactions. If accidentally, incidentally, circumstantially, not in a premeditated way, if somebody commits a mistake, Krishna will forgive and reinstate the devotee back in bhakti. But if somebody thinks that anyways Krishna will take care, I am the child of a wealthy father, even if I waste some money, no problem, then Krishna will ensure that he will undergo the necessary purification. Right? So out of the force of some past habit or past impression, or because of temptation of Maya, or for some other reason, if a devotee gets distracted, still there is some hope. That's why in the Aparadha Shodhana mantras, after we complete the deity worship, one mantra is like this: Aparadha sahasrani kriyante harnisham maya dasohamiti mamatva kshamasva madhusudana pratignatava govinda name bhaktaha pranashyati iti samspritya pranan sandharayatam yaham. Krishna, you have given a promise. Name bhaktaha pranasyati. Although I am filled with so many offenses, although I want to overcome the shortcomings and offenses, still I am becoming a victim of these offenses. I am committing these offenses unknowingly or knowingly. I am unable to come to the right standard, but you have given a pratigna. Pratigna tava govinda name bhaktaha pranasyati. And that pratigna is my asha. The promise that you gave is my asha. Asha means hope. It is samsmritya pranan sandharayatamyaham. By remembering this again and again, I am maintaining my life. If Krishna disowns us, if Krishna gives us up, where will we go? An ordinary living entity in this world may say that, oh, I am not compatible with this guy. I cannot deal with him. Out. I can't deal with him. Okay, you can maintain distance. But sometimes people may go to the extreme of never interacting with this person again. I will not even look at the person's face again. Yeah, an ordinary living entity may do so, but Krishna will never do so. And why ordinary living entity does so? Because he is not Krishna. As simple as that. Krishna has unlimited patience, unlimited accommodativeness, unlimited love and affection for his devotees. Even if a living entity commits abominable activities, most sinful activities, very heinous activities, and takes birth as a worm in stool, or takes birth as something else, insect, or an ant, or a snake, or whatever, Krishna will not leave that person. Krishna stays right within their hearts as super soul, Paramatma. Right? Paramatma is there only in the hearts of devotees or what? Even in the hearts of materialistic people, Paramatma is there. Even in snakes, there is Paramatma. Even in cows and like sattvic animals like cows and ferocious animals like tigers, jackals, wolves, there is Paramatma. Even in trees, there is Paramatma. Even in insects, there is Paramatma. The Lord expands himself as Paramatma, and with his Amsha as Paramatma, he stays in the hearts of all living entities. No exception. Right? Why? Out of his love, I want to accompany this devotee, or accompany this living entity in his journey. So, the Lord never disowns his devotees. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto mattah smritirjnanamohanam cha vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedyo vedanta kridveda videva chaham. Sarvasya cha aham hridi sannivishto. Within the hearts of all living entities, I personally stay in the form of super soul Paramatma. Only he can protect. He constantly oversees the movements of living entities in this world, directs their wanderings according to their desire. And as conscience, as the inner voice, he tells them, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. But somehow, the living entity becomes very obsessed with doing some sinful activities. Therefore, the living entity goes in that direction. But actually speaking, devotee, the Supreme Lord takes care of the devotees and he tries to keep them on the right path as much as possible. There is one shloka by Gajendra. Gajendra was a great devotee, Indrajimna Maharaj, in his past life. Gajendra was Indrajimna Maharaj in his past life, but somehow because of certain incidents, he had to become an elephant. He was caught by a crocodile. Then Gajendra offered this prayer. Madrik prapanna pashupasha vimokshanaya muktaya bhuri karunaya namolayaya स्वांशेन सर्वतनुभृन्मनसि प्रतीता प्रत्यग्दृशे भगवते बृहते नमस्ते मादृक् प्रपन्न पशुपाश विमोक्षणाय. O Lord, whenever a devotee like me surrenders unto you, Pashupasha Vimokshanaya, you remove the pasha. Pasha means bondage. Vimokshanaya, you liberate us from that bondage. Why? You yourself are always liberated. You are never bound by anything. Of course, in this context, he is bound by the love of Mother Yashoda's rope. The rope of Mother Yashoda's love. But generally speaking, the Lord is not in any other bondage, no material bondage. Therefore, he can release us from all bondage. So, Madrak Prapanna Pashupasha Vimokshanaya Muktaya Bhuri Karunaya Namolayaya. One quality is you have the capacity to deliver us. Because you are never bound, you can release us from bondage. Second quality is Bhuri Karunaya. Although somebody has the capacity to help us, he may not have the compassion to help us. So the Lord has compassion also. Bhuri Karunaya. Although somebody has the capacity to protect us and compassion to protect us, if he is not even aware that we need some help, how can he protect? So the Lord has cognizance also. Alayaya means the Lord is always aware of everything that is happening with every single devotee. Keep some faith in the Lord. The Lord is aware. He completely knows what's happening with our lives. Nothing in our lives is happening randomly. It's personally being orchestrated by the Lord in reciprocation with our moods and deeds and needs. We have certain moods and needs and deeds. In reciprocation with our moods and deeds and needs, Krishna will make arrangements in our lives. We need to recognize the divine intervention within our lives. The Lord is doing something in my life. The Lord is doing this. He is arranging. He is giving me this opportunity to grow. He is teaching a lesson to me through these incidents. So if you are observant, you will catch those lessons. Yesterday, I think we were discussing in Bhakti Vaibhav class. Lessons are not taught, they are caught. Means somebody may teach lessons, but if we are not very observant or receptive, we cannot catch the lessons. Lesson will just go. Lessons are caught, not taught. For that, we need to be introspective. We need to contemplate. We need to be observant. Swamshena sarvatanubhranmanasi pratita pratyagdrishe bhagavate brihate namaste. Swamshena, in the form of his amsha, Paramatma, sarvatanubhranmanasi pratita, the Lord is resplendent within the hearts of all living entities. And he takes care of the devotees. Specifically takes care of the devotees. For that, we need to express our dependence on Krishna. We need to give up our mentality to be independently functioning in this world and depend on Krishna. Then we can receive the divine reciprocation of Krishna. If one wants to act independently, not aligning oneself with the instructions of the Lord as given by the Shastras, yaha Shastra vidhimutsrujya vartate kamakaratah nasa siddhimavapnoti na sukham na parangati. No siddhi. Only when we agree to align ourselves with the instructions of the Lord coming through Guru Parampara and Shastra, then we can attain all success. Yasyana vrittya krutino bhuvima. The Dwarkavasis say, Bhavaya nastvam bhava vishva bhavana tvameva matha suhrutpati pita tvam sadgururnaha paramam cha daivatam yasyana vrittya krutino bhuvima. The Dwarkavasis are saying, Bhavaya nastvam bhava vishva bhavana. O Lord, you are Vishwa Bhavana. Means you have manifested this entire creation. Tvameva mathata, you are our mother. Pitata, you are our father. Suhrut patihi pita. Suhrut means you are our friend. Pati, our master. Pita, our father. Tvameva mata ta suhrutpati pita. Tvam sadgurunah. You are our teacher also. Paramam cha daivatam. You are our supremely worshipable deity. Yasyana vritya krutino abhuvima. Only by following your footsteps, kritino abhuvima, we become successful. Otherwise, we'll waste our human forms of life. So when we surrender to the Lord, when we take shelter of the Lord, then the Lord will give us protection. And even if we don't surrender to the Lord takes care of us. Just like a father or a mother can keep the child in the lap. So much protection, cozy protection in the lap of mother. But sometimes the child wants to leave mother's lap and then go out and explore different things. Right? So mother's lap is comfortable and safe, but the child wants to go. Now in some places, the railings have some gaps. Now, here is nice peacock carving is there. Even if a child goes there, he will not fall off. But sometimes there are some little railings and there are gaps. And mother is constantly watching the child. Oh, he's going there. Maybe he'll go between the railings and he may fall off also. So, although the child left mother's lap and going out to explore things, the mother is watchful. Oh, what's happening? Oh, he may fall down. He may fall down. Immediately, he'll stop. Hey, don't go there. Don't go there. Our mother may personally go and then catch the child and bring the child back. A child is touching the flower. Mother may say, okay, fine, do it. The child may touch a knife. Mother will say, hey, remove. So like that, even if the child leaves the mother and tries to explore other things, mother is watchful and tries to take care of the child. Similarly, even if the living entity turns his face away from the Lord doesn't disown the person. The Lord is watchful as Paramatma, constantly keeping a watch over the living entity and trying to bring them back to the right consciousness. There is a prayer in connection to Gajendra. Samsarambhasi sambhrita brahmabhare gambhirata patraya grahena abhigrihita mugragatina kroshantamantarbhayat दीप्त्रेणाद्य सुदर्शनेन विबुधा क्लान्तिच्छिदा कारिणा चिन्ता सन्ततिरुद्धमुद्धर हरे मच्चित्तगन्धीश्वरम् Samsarambhasi sambhrita brahmabhari. Samsara ambhasi means I am drowning in this ocean of samsara. Sambhrita brahmabhari. This ocean of samsara is filled with so many illusions and bewilderments and confusions and distractions. Samsarambhasi sambhrita brahmabhari gambhira tapatraya. And further, gambhira tapatraya, very grave threefold miseries. This is my condition. I am caught up in this samsara ocean. Samsarambhasi sambhrita brahmabhare gambhira tapatraya grahena abhigrihita mugragatina kroshantamantarbhaya. Already he is in the ocean of samsara. On top of it, grahena abhigrihita. This crocodile of Maya caught my leg. Abhigrihita, ugragatina, not living only. Just like the crocodile did not leave Gajendra for 1000 years. Similarly, a difficulty may catch us and it may not leave us for 1000 years. Or more than that. Few lifetimes. Sometimes you go to a doctor, I got fever. Fine, he'll give some tablet, in 1 or 2 days you're alright. I got cough, cold or some other disease. In 1 week you may be alright. But sometimes you go to the doctor, he says, you have to live with it. No control Z option. You will not become alright. You have to adjust. With this disease, you have to live forever, throughout your life. Grahena abhigrihita mugragatina kroshantamantarbhayat. Ugragatina. It's very fiercely the Maya has caught us. Some problems will not leave us whole life. Ugragatina. Sometimes we may get pacified thinking that agama apayino anityaha tam sitikshasva bharata. Problem will come and go. It will not stay forever. Just tolerate. Done. Matter closed. But simple tolerance will not work. What will work? tolerance will not work. Only acceptance will work. You may tolerate it for a temporary amount of time. Agama apayino anityaha tam stitikshasva bharata. It will come and it will go. You tolerate. Fine. I tolerate from this point to this point. For 5 days I will tolerate. For 10 days I will tolerate. Then I will not tolerate. Sometimes you have no option but to tolerate whole life. That is called acceptance. When you understand that this problem will stay for a longer time, you should just accept it. So, grahena abhigrihita mugragatina akroshantam antarbhayat. Akroshantam, he's crying. He's unable to come out of this problem. Antarbhayat, internally he has so much fear. So, what is the solution here? Deeptriyanadya sudarshanena vibudha klantichhida karina. He is offering a prayer to Lord Vishnu. O Lord, Deeptriyana adya sudarshanena vibudha. Sudarshan chakra, you release your Sudarshan chakra, which is effulgent. Abhigrihita mugragatina kroshantam antarbhayat. I am caught up in this deep misery. I am crying. I am fearful. I am experiencing great terror in my heart. So you release your Sudarshan chakra. Adya, today only. Now itself you release your Sudarshan chakra. Deeptriyana adya sudarshanena. What is the track record of Sudarshan chakra? Vibudha. Even great devatas are also protected by this Sudarshan chakra. Deeptriyana adya sudarshanena vibudha klantichhida karina. This Sudarshan chakra has the track record of destroying the miseries of even great vibhudas, devatas also. Release that Sudarshan chakra to release me from this material existence. Chinta santati ruddha muddhara hare machitta dantishwaram. Machitta. My mind is like Dantishwaram. What is Dantishwara? Gajendra. Gajendra has big danta, right? Dantishwara means Gajendra, the king of all elephants. My mind is like that Gajendra who is caught up by this crocodile in that lake. I am like the Gajendra who is caught up by the crocodile of Maya in this ocean of material existence. Just like your Sudarshan chakra protected Gajendra, your Sudarshan chakra should protect me now also. This is how one has to depend on the Lord. When there is dependence on the Lord, when there is no inclination to be independently functioning, then there is a hope for us. It is Brahma who finally understood that, oh Lord, I am not independent. I am dependent on you. I realized it. I am insignificant in comparison to you. Out of arrogance, out of overly identifying myself with my position as the creator of the universe, I offended you. I played with you. I tricked you. I wanted to test your power. I am like a firefly standing in front of sun. If a firefly wants to test the temperature of sun, what will happen? Firefly will get burnt. I am like that. Millions and millions of universes are coming out from Mahavishnu's bodily pores. We know that, right? Yasyaika nisvasita kalamatavalambhya jivanti loma vilaja jagadandanatha. Yasyaika nisvasita kalamatavalambhya. When this Mahavishnu breathes out, exhales, millions and millions of universes are coming out of his bodily pores. How? Now, sunlight is coming inside a window screen, for example. You stand there and then watch this sunlight, sunshine, sunrays coming inside. Inside you will see so many small molecules, small molecules. Can you count them? You cannot count them. Those many universes are coming out of Mahavishnu's body. And in one of the small molecules, means in one of those small universes, Brahma is the creator. Who am I in comparison to you? If you take one big bag of mustard seeds and throw it on the floor, how many mustard seeds are there? Can you ever count? Similarly, you cannot count the number of universes. In one of those mustard seeds, one little mustard seed universe, Brahma is there creating these 14 planets. How small Brahma is in comparison to Vishnu. And he's an expansion of Krishna. And that Krishna standing in front of Brahma, and Brahma is offering obeisances. Oh Lord, I'm sorry, I'm insignificant. And if Brahma finds himself so insignificant in comparison to Krishna, who are we? Within one eye blink of Brahma, we pass through 10, 20 lifetimes. Right? Our 10, 20 lifetimes or 100 lifetimes will pass within one eye blink of Brahma. Like this. It is like this. How insignificant we are. So, till we realize our insignificance, and realizing insignificance is done in a mode of humility. And humility is not inferiority complex. Humility is not lack of self-respect. Humility is not that you have some suicidal tendencies, or you feel totally incapable of doing anything. I'm good for nothing. I'm this and that. It's not lack of self-esteem or low self-esteem. That is not humility. Humility means you understand how glorious Krishna is, and in comparison to him, how insignificant you are. And humility means you recognize every single living entity for their connection with Krishna and for their potency, for their greatness of being in connection with Krishna, being related to Krishna. Let me tell you one little story of humility, popular story. Once, one devotee went to a guru, a Vaishnava guru, and said, "Can you please initiate me? I would like to become your disciple." He asked, very sincerely he asked. Then the guru said, in Vrindavan it happened, the guru said, "Oh, you want initiation from me? You want Diksha from me? What is your qualification to attain Diksha? Do you have any qualification to receive initiation from me? I'll give you 24 hours. In 24 hours, you prove yourself better than even one person in this entire Vrindavan, then I'll give you initiation. I can't give initiation to someone who is very insignificant. You prove yourself better than at least one person." Then this disciple thought, "Of course, I can. Why one? Take 10, take 1,000. 24 hours is more than sufficient for me. Within 5 minutes, I can find somebody." He thought like that confidently. But anyways, he gave 24 hours time. So he came out of Guru's ashram, hoping that tomorrow I'll get initiated. Tomorrow I'll find somebody, show to my Guru, and tomorrow I'll get initiation. He was thinking like that. He came out of Guru's ashram and found a rickshawala there and called him, "Rickshawala, come here. Take me to my home." Rickshawala came. He boarded the rickshaw. And he was thinking internally, see, this rickshawala is taking payment from me and taking me to my home. Definitely this rickshawala is insignificant, or at least inferior to me. I'm better than him. Tomorrow I'll take the same rickshaw guy to my Guru and say, "I'm better than him. You please give me initiation." He was thinking like that internally. But by the time he reached home, he realized that I don't have the ability to reach my home on my own. This rickshawala brought me. Although I must have given him 10 rupees, this 10 rupees will not take me to home. Only rickshawala can take me to my home. Means I am dependent on him. He is better than me in some regard. I don't have the ability to walk on my own, and I am dependent on him to reach home. Therefore, he is not inferior to me. I am not better than him. So he realized it. Then he was about to enter his home. At the entrance of his home, there were some vegetable sellers, sabji market. So he went and purchased some sabji and thought, okay, at least these people are inferior to me. I am better than them. I am making them payment and taking sabji. By the time he entered home, he realized, I can't grow my own food. I don't have any vegetables in my garden. Unless they come and sell these vegetables and grains in front of my home, I won't be able to eat anything because I'm not growing food. Although I may have little money, I cannot eat money and survive. I need vegetables. And they have to grow vegetables. So they are growing all these crops and bringing them in front of me and selling this. Then only I am able to survive. Definitely I am not better than them. I am dependent on them. So like that whole day he is searching for so many people and trying to find some qualities in them by which he can understand that I am better than them. But in some way or the other, he found himself inferior to all the people whom he found the whole day. Entire day passed. Anxiously he slept in the night. Next day morning he got up. He was passing stool. Then he found some worms in his own stool. Then he understood. These worms in the stool are inferior to me. They are inferior to me, I am better than them. Okay. By the time he took bath, he got another realization. I am eating very nice, delicious food, Krishna Prasadam, and converting it into stool. But this worm is so witty and so intelligent that he is able to make a living out of it also. I can't eat stool and survive. I need proper food. But even out of stool, this worm has the ability to make something, make a living out of it. Means the worm in stool is also better than me in some way. So he realized that there is not a single person who is inferior to this person in all ways. He found in everybody some quality that is better than him. So he went in front of Guru and said, I'm sorry. You gave me 24 hours. Even if you give me 24 days or 24 months, I don't think I will be able to find any person who is inferior to me in all ways. I am not better than anybody. So I am not qualified for initiation. I'm sorry. With a disappointed face, he offered obeisances. He was about to leave. Then Guru said, now you are qualified for initiation. You are qualified for initiation now because you realize that others are better than you in some way or the other. You realized your insignificance. You became humble. That humility is the qualification to chant the holy names of Krishna and receive mercy of Guru. If there is no humility, we cannot connect with Krishna. So when Indra was proud, he could not understand Krishna's glories. When Brahma was proud of his position as a creator, he could not understand Krishna's glories. When Brahma became humble, when Indra became humble, when all the other devotees became humble, they realized Krishna's glories. They were able to chant holy names of Krishna. That's why Kirtaniya Sadahari is possible by Tranadapi Sunichan. So let's not become proud. Let's become happy for receiving an opportunity to render some service to Krishna. We can be happy. We can celebrate. We can be joyful. Humility does not mean you're always stressed out, always serious, brave. You are appearing as if you're lost. No smile on the face. Why are you not smiling? Why are you not happy? Because I'm humble. Because I'm humble, I'm not happy. Actually, humble people are most happy. Proud people always want to maintain their status quo. Proud people always want to maintain their position, power. They want to dominate people, suppress people, oppress people to maintain their greatness. That's why sometimes they become very anxious and stressed out. But humble people, they have nothing to achieve. They want to serve Krishna with full commitment. But their attempts to serve Krishna are not their attempts to prove their glory. Their attempts to serve Krishna are a product of their humility. I want to be used in Krishna's service somehow or the other. I want to become an instrument in Krishna's service somehow or the other. That's their mode. So, Indra, here, Brahma is offering these prayers. And after Brahma offered the prayers, Parikshit Maharaj had a doubt. In this Brahma Vimohana Leela, apart from Brahma's humility, prayers, and many other philosophical angles, one prominent thing I observed is all these Vrajavasis loved Krishna more than their own children. One day, Krishna, Balaram, and Krishna's own expansions in the form of calves and boys, they went to the pasturing grounds as usual near Govardhan. And all the cows were attended to by elderly cowheadmen on top of Govardhan hill. All the little boys, smaller gopas, they're taking care of calves at the foothills of Govardhan. Somehow these cows saw their calves and they came running towards their calves to feed them milk. Then all the cowheadmen thought that, hey, these cows are running away. We have to control them. They started running behind the cows. By the time they reached the foothills of Govardhan, they found their own sons. And the fathers were embracing their sons and bathing them with their tears out of love and affection. And the cows were licking the bodies of the calves and started giving them milk. So this is magnificent display of parental affection. Balaram saw this and said, Krishna, all these cows are loving their calves as much as they love you. All these fathers, elderly cowheadmen, are loving their children as much as they love you. What is this? Generally, all the Brajavasis love you more than anybody else, more than their own selves. But why are they loving their children more than you? Then Krishna said, these are my expansions. Your expansions? Really? Yes. They are my expansions. How come? You expanded like them? Then he told the whole story. Brahma, 1 year back, he stole the calves and the boys. So I expanded myself in their forms. And I didn't want to reveal this to you because I don't want you to feel separation from those boys and calves. So then he, after hearing this whole narration, Parikshit Maharaj had a question. He said, Krishna is somebody else's child. Krishna is Yashoda Mata's child. Krishna is Nanda Maharaj's child. How come all the Gopas and the Gopis and the cows and the calves had more affection for Krishna than their own children? Can you please say this? So in that context, this shloka comes that therefore it is his own self that is more dear. Basically, everybody loves Krishna more than anyone else or anything else in the pure state of consciousness. But somehow that attraction towards Krishna is diverted towards attraction towards one's own self. When the conditioned soul becomes self-centric, and that attraction towards one's own self is diverted towards attraction towards one's own body, bodily relations and bodily possessions and positions, etc. But ultimately, our dearness is meant for Krishna, not for ourselves or many other people. So, whether we know it or not, whether we realize it today or tomorrow or after 10 years or 10 lifetimes, we love Krishna the most and Krishna loves us the most. No one else can love us more than Krishna does. We don't love anyone more than we love Krishna. But we have to realize it. And the realization is the ultimate conclusion of Shastras. And that realization is the ultimate aim of the process of Bhakti Yoga. To love Krishna more than anyone else. To express love for Krishna and to experience love of Krishna. That's the essence of Bhakti Yoga. Thank you very much. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada.